Hello. In tonight's SWAT episode, the city was experiencing a heat wave. Many people expected tempers to flare up as temperatures rose. Hondo was called in for a protection detail, and he enlisted Gamble's help. They arrived to protect Mayor Castro. The mayor became quite popular. He lowered the bonds. It helps innocent individuals get out of jail while also giving criminal people an opportunity to flee and/or commit other crimes. Paul Kong detested the new law. It resulted in the death of a loved one. He was so enraged that he fired at the mayor's automobile a few days earlier. The LAPD still viewed him as a genuine threat, which is where the protection detail comes in. Hondo and Gamble were supposed to accompany the mayor about for a few days. They were supposed to guard him, but things got a little tougher when entire neighborhoods went dark. There were far too many people who took advantage of outages. Hondo's entire staff was summoned in to cope with the aftermath. This includes Powell. Powell noticed a chess match going on when she walked in and picked up one of the pieces on the side. It had no effect on the game. However, it did have an effect on the curse. There is a golden rule that anyone who touches a piece in an active chess match will bring bad luck. Powell was unaware of the rule at the time she broke it. However, she did not believe what she was told. She attempted to exacerbate the curse by taking one of the pieces with her while on call. The car accident occurred while she was bragging to Deacon. Deacon warned her that this was only the beginning. The entire day was going to be a wash. The entire S.W.A.T was going to be affected. After the crash, Deacon went behind the wheel. He didn't want to take any more risks with her behind the wheel. Miko was biking alongside Tan. He believed they'd have an effortless day. They were allocated to a beautiful upmarket neighborhood, and everything went well until a woman flagged them down. She asked them to conduct a wellness check for her neighbor. He hasn't left the house in days. He has a small son. When SWAT arrived, they discovered that Travis, the neighbor, had overdosed. He also kept his 4-year-old son in his room, and the child was dying from dehydration and malnutrition. Miko located the child. He requested a second ambulance to save the small boy. He also attacked the father. Miko was so upset on the boy's behalf that he planned to beat up the father. Tan had to drag him away. He directed Miko to focus on the boy and ensured that both father and son boarded an ambulance. Tan disliked it, but he was going to have to report Miko. Miko crossed the line. He assaulted an unarmed citizen with a drug problem. Tan needed to write him up. Miko had to be probed, and his career may be ended. The fact that he had more important things to do that day might have saved him. Powell and Deacon discovered that the electricity did not go off on its own. Someone was bombing electricity transformers throughout the city. They wanted to keep the cops busy while they did whatever they wanted. They could rob a few locations. Alternatively, they could be attempting to assassinate an elected official. Hondo and Gamble prevented an assassination attempt on Mayor Castro. They apprehended Kong and an accomplice. They weren't sure if the danger had passed when the men were apprehended. And so they forced the mayor to return to City Hall, where security was tight. The remainder of SWAT examined its bombers. They discovered that one neighborhood was always getting their license plates stolen. Deacon and Powell traveled to the area. They stumbled onto a hostage scenario. When they attempted to rescue the hostage, a gunfight ensued. Powell was nearly killed. She was shot in the back. It struck the vest and convinced Powell that the curse was real. She tried to return the chess piece. She thought that had been enough, but it wasn't. She discovered that the curse is not lifted until the original players finish the game. They couldn't do this since they were tracing bombers around the city. The shooters escaped with their prisoner. Powell was able to apprehend one man. They exploited the suspect to obtain information about the others. He was excited to brag about fighting for the city. The bombers consider themselves freedom fighters. They resided in Owens Valley. It was a little city located many miles from Los Angeles. However, it is LA that determines what they can and cannot do with their water and land rights. Utility companies were taking land. They were evicting individuals from their properties in order to profit. One of the freedom fighters said his father operated a hardware store for 30 years. He was planning to retire until the utility companies in Los Angeles told him he couldn't sell his firm. He had two options: quit paying for it or demolish it. He decided to dismantle it. He ruined 30 years of hard work. He eventually died of sadness, and his son wished to harm Los Angeles in the same way that they had harmed Owens Valley. He was arrested, but his friends abducted a S.W.A.T engineer. They needed her cooperation to ruin the city's water supply. SWAT caught up with the men near a big dam. The men had shot the engineer because she refused to assist them. SWAT discovered her and transported her to an ambulance. They then pursued the bombers. They took them down one at a time. Powell couldn't get a clear shot at the final man standing. She assumed the device would detonate when Hondo entered. He took out the final bomber. He placed the mayor in Gamble's capable hands to assist his squad. They saved the city. Powell then ensured that the chess game was ultimately. Thank you for watching.